Hi, kids. I am ready to read Chapter 4, Magic Tree House. But, I've been bundled up inside a lot this week reading not only Magic Tree House, but some other books that I enjoy, and watching Netflix because the weather hasn't been very good this week. I miss the nice, sunny, warm weather when I'd go out and ride my bike and go for walks and just hang around outside doing all kinds of things. So, I hope you're doing well, and I hope that you have been able to read a little bit too and find some things to do inside this week. So, Chapter 4, Moon Rabbits. Oh, wow, said Annie. She took a step forward, but Jack stood frozen. He wanted to get a good look at everything first. He stared at the ground. He was standing in a layer of gray dust as fine as powder. Footprints were everywhere. Jack wondered who made them. He reached in his backpack for the moon book. To his surprise, it was as light as a feather. He found a picture of footprints on the moon and he read, "The moon has no rain, no wind, so dust will not blow around. Footprints will never wear away naturally, not even in 1 billion years." Oh man, Jack said. The moon was the stillest place that he had ever been. It was as still as a picture, and its stillness would never end. Jack stared at the ink black sky. A lovely blue and white ball glowed far away. Earth. And for the first time it really hit Jack. They were in outer space. "Look!" Annie cried, laughing. She bounded past Jack, almost flying through the air. She landed on her feet and jumped again. "I'm a moon rabbit," she called. Jack laughed. How does she do that? He wondered. He read on a page. A person weighs less on the moon because of the moon's low gravity and lack of air. If you weigh 60 pounds on the earth, you would only weigh 10 pounds on the moon. "Well, don't just stand there reading," said Annie. She grabbed his book and tossed it into space. It flew far away. Jack started after it. He bounded up and down, running after it. Boing, boing, boing. "Look," he called to Annie. "I'm a moon rabbit too." Where Jack's boots hit the ground, moon dust gracefully sprayed into space. The book had landed at the edge of a shallow crater. When Jack reached it, he tried to stop, but his feet slipped and he fell right over and lay on his side. He tried to stand, but he was off balance. Hey, that's one of our challenge popcorn words. He tried again, but the dust was just too deep, and his spacesuit was too clumsy. "You okay?" asked Annie. "I can't get up," said Jack. "Well, you shouldn't have been goofing off," said Annie wisely. "Oh, you goofed off first," said Jack. "Now help me up, please." Annie started toward him. "Don't fall too," warned Jack. "I won't." Annie moved slowly, half floating, half walking. "Give me your hand," she said. Annie grabbed Jack's hand and pulled him up. "Thanks," he said. "No problem," she said. "It was easy because you're really light." "Well, thank goodness," said Jack. "It's impossible to get up alone." He picked up the moon book. It was covered with dust. He brushed it off. "Oh, wow, look," said Annie. She stood at the edge of a crater. "What is it?" said Jack. "It's a moon buggy," said Annie. There was a buggy parked right in the crater. It had 4 huge wheels. "Come on, let's go for a ride," said Annie. "No, we can't," said Jack. "We have 2 hours of air in our tanks, remember?" "I bet we can find the M thing faster if we take the moon buggy." Annie was already bounding into the crater. "But we can't drive," said Jack. "Oh, I bet I can," said Annie. "It looks easy. Come on." She jumped right into the driver's seat. Jack yelled at her. "You don't have a driver's license," he said. "Who cares?" said Annie. "There aren't any roads, and there's no stoplights, and there's no policeman either." Well, she was right, thought Jack. "Well, go slow," he said as he climbed in beside her. Annie pushed a button labeled "on," and the moon buggy lurched backwards. Yikes, said Annie. Step on the brakes, said Jack. Annie pressed a pedal on the floor and the buggy stopped with a jerk. Phew, he said. It must be in reverse, said Jack. Let me study this. But before he could say anything, Annie pushed another button, and the buggy tilted backward. Its front wheels rose in the air. Let me out of here, cried Jack. Annie pushed more buttons, and the buggy's front wheels landed back on the ground. The buggy leaped forward. Slower, Jack cried. I can't, said Annie. I don't know how. Annie steered the buggy over the tracks on the ground. The wide wheels kept it from sinking into the deep dust. Be careful, cried Jack. The buggy zoomed out of the crater. Gray clouds of dust rose behind them as they took off across the moon.